We are getting creative tonight. Do you want to know what I'm talking about? Stay tuned because we have an amazing guest on tonight's episode of The Lipstick Effect. And I'm also going to be talking to you a little bit about a couple things that I explored yesterday on my Instagram live. But you know what? As I always say, less talking, more action. Let's start the show. Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lipstick Effect. Jamila Bannister here, your host. And I'm excited about this week. I just mixed up my video intros there. That's why you have too many things happening in the production side and not enough producers, but that's okay. Modern technology is going to help us get through. So, welcome to another week here on the Lipstick Effect. I'm excited. If you were here last week, thanks for showing up again this week. And if you are here in the comments, of course, leave love, drop the lipstick emojis. Let me know that you're present. Say hi, say hello. And I'm really looking forward to engaging with you and talking to you, interviewing this week's guest, right? But of course, in the beginning of the show, I always talk about something that's super cool. So, oh, we have comments already. So, is it Ashta? Ashta Prendergast? Tell me if I pronounce your name correctly. Hi, good evening, and welcome to this stream. Glad you're on here where we talk about all things beauty, branding, and business on the Lipstick Effect, right? So, of course, I normally start off with news from around the world, but I'm not going to do any news today because I want to recap a conversation that I had yesterday on my Instagram live stream series with Tisha Lloyd. It's called Unfiltered. If you want to catch it, we do it every Monday at from 5 to 6 p.m. on Instagram Live, and we always talk about things that are interesting, that bind beauty brands and personal branding together. So yesterday we were talking about how do you know if it's time to actually launch a beauty brand? How do you know if you're ready? How do you know you have the correct things in place, right? So sometimes we may be thinking that I have a passion for beauty brands, or I'm looking at all these YouTube tutorials and I'm just being so inspired by all these women all these men, whoever it is, who have started their own brand, started their own line, and now they want, not yeah, and now you may want to do it too, right? So, but how do you know you're ready? How do you know that you should get in? So if you watched the stream last week, you would know that I interviewed a young lady by the name of Melissa Palanco from Michigan. And when was speaking to me, she was saying that, one of the things that she regretted in the beginning is that she was not putting herself out there. So the first year of business was really hard. And you know what? That really stuck in my mind because I'm thinking, how do people know that they're ready? So I actually came up with 4 things that you should have at least in place to know that you are ready to start moving in the direction of creating your beauty brand. Before I get into it, I just want to say hi to Kathleen Allen. Hi, Kathleen. Thanks for checking out the stream. First time here. Good evening. Welcome. Drop some lipstick emojis. Show your support. Let us know that you're there. This is the Lipstick Effect. After all, I know we like to talk all things beauty, business, and branding on this stream, right? So yes, good question. So listen up for what I have to say, right? So just 4 things that you should at least have in place. How do you know if you're ready to start a beauty brand? So the first thing that I said, right, is, are you solving a problem, right? So the first question you should ask yourself, what problem am I solving, right? Is there really an issue here? Because sometimes some people may have an issue. They may feel as though they have something that is frustrating them, but it may just be them only. It may not necessarily be other people, right? It may not be anybody else. And quite frankly, you may not need to solve a you may not need to launch a whole product for it. Maybe you just need to adjust what you're using or use something else, you know. So sometimes you may, so let me put it up here. So what problem am I solving? First question to ask yourself, right? So, okay. So Chanel, hey Chanel West, thanks for dropping the lipstick emojis. And good try. My first name is Asta. You're gonna have to send me a voice note because I don't get it and I don't want to butcher your name. Everything is pronounced. No problem. No problem. Asta. Asta. Okay. All right. So as I was saying, you definitely want to ask yourself, what problem am I solving here? Because sometimes we may have issues and the issues already only affect us, you know. And when it comes to asking this question to you don't necessarily want to just say, well, there aren't enough, there isn't enough representation here, or there isn't enough this, or isn't enough that. Is representation a real core issue from a makeup point of view? If it is, launch, not makeup, sorry, from a beauty brand point of view, launch your brand. So, for example, when Rihanna launched Fenty, there was an issue of representation. So, darker skinned women, they weren't getting their shade. And that was a real problem. But sometimes, in every case, it doesn't really work, right? So, you have to ask yourself, is that a problem or is that just a problem for me? And if you have to test that thing, you certainly want to test it with people who could potentially buy your product. So it's not just with your friends and family who might say, oh, this is so nice, I just want to support you. So they will buy something and they will never actually use it. You definitely want to test something to find out if this is really a problem. Ask a question, right? Ask the question. So that's the first thing I think you should ask yourself, right? And you will know if something is a problem if you talk to enough people. If you talk to enough people, they will tell you whether or not this is a problem. So that's the first thing, right? The second thing you have to ask yourself is, what is my story? What is my story? And I is it a compelling story to really attract people, get people's attention? You know what I mean? Or am I telling it in a way to attract people? Because sometimes people can tell a story, two different people can tell the same story, and one person's story you just want them to be quiet, and the other person's story you're just like hanging on their every word. So, is your story one to compel people? Is it something that people could relate to? Is it something that people could um, say, "Oh my gosh, that sounds so much like me"? You know, do you have a story? Because the cosmetics industry is so the cosmetics, the hair, the skincare, the personal care, the self care industry is so overrun with products. There's so many products to choose from. The thing that allows you to really connect with people is that backstory, and you want to ask yourself, what is mine? You know, am I just launching these products out here? Am I just putting this out and hoping that people will buy them? So think about what was the thing that compelled you to want to launch a beauty brand anyway, and in the midst of it, um did you have any pivotal moments that led you to do that, right? So the second thing you want to ask yourself is, what is your story, right? Okay, so the third thing that you want to ask yourself is, what is my personality? Or do you have a personality that people will be drawn to connect with? And do you have persona that people could really say, oh my gosh, this is somebody I would listen to. This is somebody who knows their stuff. And this is somebody who I could connect with. I feel like this person knows me. I feel like this person could be my friend in my head. You know, sometimes, people may follow celebrities or whatever the case may be, or they may follow other people, and they may say, you know what, I feel like this person is my friend in my head because everything they say I can relate so hard, or their personality just seems so engaging, and they have one way I just want to be around. You know what I mean? So, what is your personality? What's your persona? And do people like it, right? So that's another thing that you can have and ask yourself, if before you decide, I'm going to launch this beauty brand. Because the reality is, people connect with people, they don't necessarily connect with a product. And if the product is real good, they will connect initially. But in order for it to keep going, and in order for that influence to really spread and go further, they have to know people. That's the only way. You will eventually max out your network, right, of people who you can connect with without actually having a persona that people can connect with, right? You will max that out, and there's a point at which you will need to move beyond that. So ask yourself, what is my personality? And is it something that people can connect with? And is it something that people like? Because the reality is, if people don't like you, then more than likely wouldn't buy. They probably wouldn't buy, right? And the fourth thing that a teacher and I talked about yesterday is if you have a community, if you have a community, and you should build a community, right? So build a community, right? Do you have that? And some people may, and when I say community, I don't mean you have to have 100,000 followers. I just mean, have you been connecting and speaking with people? Do people actually get know what you're passionate about? Do they know what you like? So if you go into your network and you talk about this, would it seem like, wait, that's what this one is doing now? Or they're confused about it? You really want to ensure that your community is behind you. And this is both online and offline. You want to ensure that people are aware, people in the community are aware, because those are the people who will become your ambassadors. Those are the people who will spread the word and talk to other people about you when you are not around. So you certainly want to have that. So the four things that I think you should ask yourself or you should have in place is: one, find a problem to solve. Don't go out there and spend money as a manufacturer when you haven't actually found an issue to solve, because people don't solve for problems that they don't have. If something is not a problem, they're not going to spend any money, right? The second thing you want to do is, of course, you want to tell a compelling story. What is your story? Who are you connecting with? What are you saying? How are you relating to people, and how are you positioning yourself as the authority? Because your story gives you authority. Your story allows people to say, okay, now I understand why she is so good at this. And now I understand. I see her passion. I understand where that is coming from. You know what I mean? The third thing is, you obviously, do you have a personality that people like? Do you have a personality that people connect with? If you are somebody who is stuck on being an introvert, a wallflower, you insist you want to be invisible. How are people supposed to know? How are people supposed to be loyal and show up for you when you're not showing up for them? Have to ask yourself that question. And the fourth thing is, do you have a community? Have you informed them? Have you built that? Do you talk to people, right? So you definitely want to do that. All right, so those are the four things we talked about yesterday. Of course, it was a full hour-long broadcast. We went in more detail. So if you have not seen it, go over to my Instagram at Jamila Bannister on Instagram. Check out the full broadcast, and you can see the whole hour-long conversation. All right, so that's what we talked about yesterday, and I want you to just take note of that. Right. So before you spend your money on doing a private label or manufacturing a kitchen, this is what you need to do. All right. So Asta, Asta is saying yes. I'm assuming that she is agreeing that yes, I did pronounce her name correctly. So thank you very much. And Rachel. So Reese is back this week. Reese. Hi, Reese. Still on Rachel's profile. I am good. Thank you so much. Thanks for the lipstick emojis, Ashta. And I'm excited. All right. So, guys, I always have an amazing guest every week. And my guests are always in the green room, eating all the best. Our buffet is really good. I think they may have some cookies in the back there tonight, some fresh baked cookies. And I think they may have a couple other things in the back there. It's really good. You know what I mean? And tonight our green room is smelling really, really good because of our guest. So I want to tell our guest, put down the caviar, close up the cookies. It's time to come on stage. Mrs. Carlene St. Bernard. Hello and welcome to the Lipstick Effect, Carlene. How are
Hello.
you?
I am stuffed from all those cookies.
Uh, so good, right? So good.
So good.
So good. Well, welcome to the Lipstick Effect. I'm excited to have you on. And, the environment is smelling so nice in here. And people will soon know why.
People
So,
would.
Colleen, I feel like I have to tell you, I have to sing Jay-Z for you. Allow you to reintroduce yourself. So tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself to the network and tell us who you are.
Sure. So my name is Carlene St. I am actually the owner of a company called Ray Candles and Scents, which was created just over 3 years ago. I am obsessed with scents and fragrances. I am obsessed with things that I like aromatherapy. I think scents can help your mood and enhance your mood in any atmosphere. And so it really was for me, I'm all about creating ambience and creating environments, and it just kind of merged so perfectly with my desire to just do things with my hands. I always loved craft. I wasn't so good at drawing and stuff, but craft, that's
Yes.
my thing. And so it just kind of was a really nice marriage. So I created this company called Ray Candles and Scents. I have a communications background. I enjoy travel. I don't like necessarily being on an airplane getting to the destination, but I like being at the destination.
Yes, I
So
know
I
what
just
you mean.
yeah, so I am just somebody who appreciates, you know, enjoying moments in life, and that's really the basis for my company and what I wanted to create.
All right, awesome. Sounds amazing. Of course, we love a good scent. A couple of weeks ago, we had another fragrance entrepreneur, and that was a different thing.
Yeah.
But we'll get into that, and we'll get into that. All right, so tell us a bit about Ray. Tell us, how did you come up with the name for this company, and what was the inspiration behind this particular type of product?
So I Ray is actually it's a play on a couple of things. One is my middle name is actually Rayanne.
Oh, okay.
Um, and but more so it was connected to like ray of light, and my core product or my core the foundation was a candle and candlelight, and that is the reason why ray came about. It's very personal to me in the context of the way it's branded. My husband, who is a brand strategist and a graphic designer, he was able to capture. So like if you look at the logo, it's like a sun coming over mountains, and that's like mountains I used to look at from my home in Trinity where I grew up. And it's really very it all I was listening to you in terms of why you would start a business and why you would even invest your time in certain things. And for me, race was the first time I felt like I found passion. And so that's why it's the Rihanna is my name, and the way the logo was created, and just the ray of light, the joy that it brought. And as it was, and I chose to make it this way in the context of the brand from the jump was always very quality. It always had a presence about it that the aesthetic caused people to really kind of stop and take notice. And and it was intentional because I always wanted to create something that we could be proud of, as in I wanted it to come out of Trinidad but have an international appeal. And I know a lot of people are really doing that now, and really striving, but from the start, that was where I wanted to create a high-end product from the actual start. So that's the reason for the look and the aesthetic and just the way it's positioned.
Yes. All right. So let's take a moment and dive into the comments. So we have Valine saying, whoop, whoop. She left you some lipsticks. Hi, Valine. Thank you for the love. And Asta is saying, I wish she saved some for me. So Asta clearly wants some of your candles, right? Or your fragrances, or which maybe both. And she left a
Cookies.
cookie for you, right? So Vamp Boss is saying it's important to connect with people through your story. It lets them know that you're here for them. That's very true. Vamp Boss founders. And Ramona is saying, good night all. Hi, Ramona. And Vali is dropping some love for the Ray candles. So guys, keep the comments coming. Share this live stream of this show with somebody who you think will enjoy the content and find value in it. All right. Okay, so you give us a little bit about the history about Ray. So all right. So just now you kind of started into a particular direction. So you said that race was the first time you found passion, right? So and despite the fact that you are an academic, you did say that you're creative and you always enjoy working with your hands. But sometimes I feel like when we engage in creative projects, we do a lot. And there's this analogy that one of my former bosses used to always say that you would, before you get to land, which is the place you really want to be, you would always find twigs in the water. Twigs come up, and I am sure that you would probably
Right.
have done another twig like project. So what were some of your twigs what were some of the twigs like before you actually landed on race?
Woo! Ooh, Jamila. Ooh. So let me take you very quickly down my bunny trail.
Yeah.
So I started. My sister and I decided that we were going to make cupcakes and sell cupcakes.
Yes.
We're going to start a cupcake business and quit our full time jobs and make cupcakes for a living. None of us knew how to bake.
Yeah.
Then I decided that, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make handbags. I went on YouTube, the school of all things, and tried to find different patterns and designs. I went off and I bought material and I did this. I made one pseudo handbag and realized I have no idea what I'm doing. This is not for me. Then I mean, I've always been a fan of a lot of our local jewelry designers, and I did a course with Jacqueline Charles from Coco Caribbean. She has really amazing wire jewelry and stuff, and her course was great. And I was like, yes, I bought all the tools, and I went, I dove right in, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And like eventually I was like, okay, I really need to start. Like I have a bunch of stuff that was the start of these budding things because I'm very hasty
Twigs.
about it. Once I decide I want to do it, I jump in. And
Yes.
then, I'm like, check me if you need tools. But
Yeah.
but it suddenly it just came together because I always loved this candles and scents and fragrances, and it just made sense, and I tried it and it just stuck.
Yeah.
And it felt like a discovery.
Yeah, like I suppose it must have felt really natural too, because when things are easy, it's funny because when things are easy, we think it shouldn't be this easy, but when something fits, it really should be easy. It should be natural. It should be easy. It should be. You should take it like a duck to water. You know what I mean? It really
Yeah.
should be easy. So all right, so you had a jewelry twig, you had a handbag twig, and a cupcake twig before you made landfall on rain, and then came up. The sun came up over the
The
mountain, and
sun came up over the mountain. Here
and
we are.
symbolize that you are here in the land of all things great.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you got to land. So of course you are also in the corporate space, right? So
Yes.
what do you think from your corporate life? What gems from your corporate life would you say has helped kind of not light the flame on the Ray candle?
Um, Honestly, I would say that being in the corporate world, and I mean, the corporate world is really about, at least the way that I have worked and functioned in the corporate world, is really about catering towards telling a brand story, and really about trying to find ways to cause the brand's purpose and mission to connect with your audience, whether your audience be your employees, your customers, whatever. And so I'm still very passionate about that connection, that communication connection. And that is something that I am trying to navigate as I build Re. The thing that I have found is that, being a entrepreneur in terms of, I am literally starting from the ground up. And especially with a product like candles and room mist and diffuse and stuff, it's very labor intensive, that you have to make each thing that you sell until you decide to go a different route if that's what you choose. And I think that what I'm finding is putting in the effort of connecting with my audience and with the establishing the audience is actually something that I know the importance of it. But I struggle with the management of it in against the manufacturing of the product. But I
Yeah.
think that the thing that I would say that could build into my business from what I've learned, once I give it the precedence and create the room for it is connecting with the audience. And as you said, Leah, you need to connect your story to your customers. Your customers need to feel that connection. And so that is the thing that would carry in from my experience in the corporate world.
Corporate. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
we gotta take what we and I love the fact I always like when guests come on to this show. I always ask them about what is transferable from one area of their life to another, because oftentimes we find ourselves like using skills from a bunch of different areas and never thought that you could use this here. And I mean, it's almost natural if you use if because you are in communication, right? So
Yeah.
it's really naturally use it for a business, but like I never thought about combining branding and makeup and makeup and beauty.
I
So and
mean,
when you kind of find the combination, it just feels so good. I'm like everything
yeah,
I like in one place.
yes,
So,
exactly, exactly. And the
so
thing
it's
is
great.
that you also discover that sometimes it's depending on how you chart it, you discover that it's easier to do something for somebody else's brand than it is for yours sometimes. And so it's also just a very nice growth experience, because you get to do things deliberately and introspectively, and it's interesting. It's been a very interesting process.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're too close to the mountain, it's very hard for you to see the peak. So it's very hard for you to see beyond
Yeah.
anything. I definitely understand. It's understand it being difficult to do it for yourself, um, as opposed to doing it easily for somebody else. I get it. Don't worry. All right. So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the products now, or the brand itself, right? So when I look at beauty brands, right, I typically assess them on three areas. So with the brand positioning, the messaging, right? So I guess how easy it is for people and how easy it is for people to actually purchase and get it, right? So
Hmm.
when I check out your IG, I got a you know what I got a really distinct feeling, a vibe. I want you to put that vibe into words to me. Like, what message are you trying to send with your brand positioning?
So the thing that I aim for is I really want it to be aspirational. I want it to be something that feels almost like it's the vibe I like to in my mind. It's clean, it's cool, it's luxurious, but it's not something that's necessarily attached to everyday function, but it's something that feels like treat yourself. It's something like step into a moment of just, whether it's bliss or joy or just, create those pieces. So it's my I try to avoid clutter. I try to avoid making things feel like if it's competing. So even if you look at the way that the design is done, it's this clean logo with this pop of color. And so it's about having a personality, having you do have things that make you stand out. It's about being striking, but at the same time, not being too overdone. We want to keep it clean. We want to keep it fresh. We want to keep it feeling luxe. That's really, how we approach it. We don't try to be too intense.
As you're saying that, you know what I feel? I feel like Ray candles and scents are almost it's like the silent guest in your. It's like it melts into your environment, and you
Hmm.
know it's there, but it doesn't impose on you.
Exactly.
That's how I feel. Like it's like
Yeah,
hi, nice to see you, nice to smell you, nice to have
yeah,
you. But you're not
yeah.
like, it's just
It doesn't
like,
hit you over the head. It's not.
yeah, I
You
get
don't
that
know this
feeling
person in the
about
room.
you gotta get me some of them candles. You gotta send some of those to me. All right, so Asta is asking if we on Instagram. Love to follow. Yes, and yes, Asta. Okay, I was planning to put up these Instagram handles at the end of the stream, but I could definitely put them up now for you to see. So to follow Rate Candles and Scents. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So many. You can definitely go to IG's Ray underscore candles underscore scents, right? And I will put up my IG handle in a bit because I just realized I don't have it. I don't have it here in my studio, but I will definitely put it up in a bit. So my IG handle is at Jamila Bannister, which is my name. So I will definitely put it up. So I'll put it up for you in a minute, Asta. All right. All right. So I definitely want to ask you about design, but in our talking clearly we have that, and because I think the design is not the only thing that stands out. Like I'm looking and I'm like there's levels to this stuff, because it's not just like the actual design, but it's also the photography. So your visuals like hit it out of the park on two levels. And sometimes people get the brand but they don't get the pictures. Sometimes people get the pictures but the brand isn't quite um stand outstanding. So you told me about the inspiration for the design.
Mm-hmm.
Um Talk to me about a little bit about the photography and how you kind of achieve the looks that you and the feelings that you have in the images.
So, I mean, it was a learning, growing process. I'm
Yeah.
not a photographer. and but thankfully, I have someone in my corner who kind of assesses that and says, is that something that looks aspirational? Is that something that
Yeah,
makes
you
people
have a secret
feel
you
like
have a secret weapon. You have a secret
I
weapon.
have a secret weapon that, that is like, does this give the vibe that you want your story to tell? Or is this just you
Yeah.
slapping something on Instagram?
Yeah.
And so I've had to edit quite considerably.
Yeah.
But the I really just want a brand that people feel like they can be proud of, even in the context of knowing where it's from. I want it to appeal to an audience that isn't just, geographically based. So I don't want it to just be a Trinidad audience or Caribbean audience. I want it to appeal to when people see it, I want them to feel like this is something that, feels like it could be added to my space. I mean, there's so many, like I'm obsessed with candles and I follow all with scented products that I really am and fragrances. And so, I mean, and Ray candles is literally but one of many great products out there. And so I want you to know that I want you to feel that Ray is a compliment to your situation, to your lifestyle, to your atmosphere. I don't like it's not a you know in taking the photos and putting things up, I want you to see it in your space. I want you to feel like, this is something that can go into my space and make me feel good. It's like you spray on a perfume and it could make your mood feel you can feel differently as you spray on a scent. So that's how I feel even in the context of just setting way up for a photo or putting things out there. I want people to feel like, yeah, there's something I want.
Yeah. Feel good when they see it. People like eye candy. People like to because all that is communication. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know, but I have to say that I really love what you have done with fragrance in terms of like positioning it as luxury because typically fragrance is associated with perfumes from a personal care, and that's what we see usually, right?
Mhm.
And but Ray is different, and I imagine that the fragrance that you use to infuse a room would be different to the ones that you have to work with body chemistry. You just said they actually have to mix it yourself and that kind of thing, right?
Well,
So,
it depends.
uh right, okay,
As in, the way the levels of perfume in terms of the percentages will change.
right,
Wax could only hold a certain kind of percentage load, as opposed
right,
to perfume that you apply to your skin or oil. It's a different percentage load. However, there's a reason why you might get a candle and a perfume and a body cream in the same fragrance from the same, whether it's a celebrity person or from a high end line of perfume. It's because you can apply it. You can literally create scents. If you love a scent, you can probably create it in almost anything that you want to enjoy it in. You just need to be mindful, as you say, the chemistry where it relates to percentages and what will carry in different things. So a room diffuser carries a different scent load than a candle will, kind of thing.
right. Oh,
Hmm.
that sounds like an education fragrance. Another scent loads and percentages. I feel like you have to give us like a cheat for that. All right. So I noticed they say that your sense of smell is the one that's most closely linked to memory, right? People
Right.
smell something and remember something years ago. So, what kind of memories do you want to help people create with Ray? Like, what do you want people to like remember? And what are the moments that you want to be present for?
Oh, I love that question. What are the moments you'd like to be present for? I love that. Um, no, I mean, I think it's just after in the context of the way that I create the brand or the way I want people to use the brand. I want people to connect really to their moments of, just self care and feeling uplifted. I want them to connect really to the moments of just feeling like, it's a sentimental, like a gift, like gives put it in the context where you want to show people some aspect of care and genuine appreciation. I want it to be connected to you feeling a sense of, you may not be living in the loftiest place, but your home is your castle. This is your space. This is your abode. This is the thing that makes you feel most like you. Yeah. And the thing is that, as I said, scents can really manipulate your atmosphere and your environment based upon. So I literally range from very mild scents to some bold scents, and it really is about your mood and what you want to feel. And I mean, I have a fragrance called Joy. I have a fragrance called Dream. You really just need to. For me, it's about creating any desired moment by introducing Ray into your space, and a desired feeling or atmosphere by introducing Ray into your space. It's not a situation where I feel like, I mean, sense, I haven't even touched the surface in terms of number. I have 10 cents. 10 is nothing compared to the amount of cents that they are available. But I want you to know that Ray is a it's a reliable sense of uplift to any situation. So yeah.
So, I wasn't. Do you want people to remember Ray? You know what I want? I want Ray to remind me that I can be rich. Like I feel rich when I think of Ray. I
You
think
can
of
feel rich. You can feel absolutely like, you know what? I feel like I want to feel like if I'm in some sort of like upscale spa, I have
yes.
you. You want to feel like
I
if
can
you
live
are
in a
lit-
spa.
I have a scent that I call it wild, and the image that I had in my head while I was making it. Those scents, those atmosphere where somebody's literally driving on a highway with their top down, the car of their the top of their car down, and the wind is blowing in their hair, and they just feel that. That's literally how I feel about the fragrance wild. It just gives you that sense of free and just pursue things that each of my sense I kind of have a this is what I would the vibe I had while I was creating it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
nice. So making memories with a Ray. All right. So let me see. Also, Asta just dropped some lipsticks for us. Oh, so Asta, I actually had my Instagram handle there. So mine is Jamila Bannister. I make it easy for everybody now. Easy. You can find me over on the gram. Follow me right there. All right. Okay. So we talked about memory and we talked about candles. So I want to take a jump over here to your IG, right? So on your IG, I was, of course, I'm doing my research. I'm looking through, and I actually saw a customer review, and it said, "I love how each scent creates a moment. I spray retreat in my room just before my evening shower, and just let it do its thing." So my question is, what? And you know what? I found that to be a really great description. But how would you put Ray into a sentence if you had to sell it to someone who has never heard about it before?
Someone who's never heard about the brand before.
Yes.
Um, I think I would say I would introduce people to Re as enter Re allows you to enter a space or a a mentality of just not I want to use the word joy, but re encapsulate moments of joy, moments of just creating a sense of this is where I want to be, this is where I want to feel. You don't, you, there's no I mean, aromatherapy is a big deal. And I think that on the very basis of my coming up with each thing, like I said, each scent has a whole mentality behind it. I want people to take that journey with Ree where you feel a sense of in each moment, in each phase of life, in each situation, you feel like if Ree is literally your it tops of each of your it tops of each of your moments in life, and that's what I want. I want to feel like raise that top off, and so spend time with somebody that you haven't seen in a long time, and as you said, let Ray be flickering in the background, creating. So you remember when you remember that moment, you remember the sense that in the background. So I think Ray is the thing that helps top off your moments. It just enhances your
So
moments.
enhances your moments of bliss, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. All right. So if you want to enhance your moments of bliss, get some rays. All right. Okay. So who would you say your products are ideal for, and who would you say don't? Who would you say your products right? Don't even bother to get them. Who are those two people?
I don't know that I have one, and the reason why I would say that is because the thing is that you have a situation sometimes where you think that going in, and again I'm linking it back to the things that you were saying when the tips that you gave before I came in, whereby you may think this is who the product is for, and then the product is out there in the market, and you get so much feedback coming in from different, like, just so many different people that you didn't even realize. Like I have guys messaging saying, I'm working in from home in my office and I have a wax smell going with a Ray product. And I would have never pictured that that is what somebody would have wanted in terms of my ideal client would be a guy working in his office. Because in my mind, I, Carlene, female like scented products. And then now that it's out in the market, it's like, when are you going to make more sense that men can, like, more male oriented sense, because we want this stuff,
Yes,
you
guys.
know?
Guys like to look good, smell good, feel good too.
Exactly, exactly. So that's been a thing. And then also in terms of, because I have like different sizes and stuff, it like different things appeal to different people. So, I have like these nice travel size pop in your wallet things, or just, pop in your suitcases, your carry-ons kind of thing. And people are like the different sense of people buy different things, and people are scent is so subjective. Like there are things that
Yes.
I love that people hate, and there are things that people hate that I love. Like scents are so, I mean, I like all of my scents, they're all my babies, but I have to also be prepared for somebody to watch me and be like, I don't know.
Not
And then
so
I have
much.
somebody, and then I have other people who would literally smell two of the same things. It's like, this I want, and fighting over the scent. And it's been a very interesting journey, and that's fine, and that's why I get to play, and that's why I get to create, because not everybody likes everything. However, it is my job to find compliments along the way. And so, even in the context of, I may have 10 cents, but you could bring two of them together and create this magic for you. You understand? Because two cents could complement each other. And so, I mean, I think my ideal customer are just people who appreciate good quality and recognizes that, I mean, it's been a very deliberate thing to not put. I started off using very quality raw materials, and I wouldn't compromise on that. All my products, they're body safe, as in my wax wouldn't harm your skin. My room and linen mist, you can literally use it as a perfume. Like, it's very deliberate to create something that is good for you. So
Yeah,
whoever appreciates quality could appreciate our products.
yeah. I suppose if you don't have an office, it probably might. I guess it might work in your home or something like that.
I
You
mean,
know.
when people buy it for their cars. I sell diffusers for cars as well. So, as in, they use the scents for cars. So that's why I said, I'm telling you, it's been a very interesting learning process, which is why I can't just pigeonhole and say, this is my customer,
Right,
because,
right,
you
right,
know,
right. And I guess that's a process of iteration. Because sometimes
yeah,
you may, as you say, you may start in one place and then you realize, okay, well, this group likes it and this group likes it. I think nice thing about appealing to, and today I put a post up on Facebook and on LinkedIn too, and it caused a little bit of a rumble on the socials. But one of the things they
Right.
talked about was how when you are marketing a product, anything you're marketing anything, you really want to be able to appeal to those basic human desires. And appealing to any one of the five senses, well, if something looks good, something smells good, or something feels good, or something sounds good, it's going to be easy to kind of reach a much broader range of people because a lot of people can appreciate things that satisfy basic human needs. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that is when it comes to fragrance, I think everybody loves to be tickled by something that smells really
Yeah.
good.
And
You
it's
know?
interesting discovering it, which is why even the way that I know I package my stuff, I discovered very early on that people need to discover. So I created things for people to be able to discover what they like, as
Yeah,
opposed to being put into set. Like because I mean, have you a lot of a lot of people like vanilla, but vanilla smells differently in a lot of different things, a lot of different brands. You
yeah,
know, so you need to discover what you like.
absolutely. All right, so we have Marlene here. Marlene is saying such an excellent process towards creating moments instead. Marlene, you can write some copy for Carlene. You can write some copy for her ads. All right, Carlene. So I want to take a break and I want to play a small game with you. So the game, it's just, it's
Oh
two,
gosh.
it's
I wasn't
Tuesday.
prepared for a game, ladies and gentlemen. I was not
It's
prepared
two
for a
two.
game.
It's 2 to 22. So I
Right.
will just play a small game, a small game where you can choose one of two, right?
Okay.
So this is one of two. All these games I
Sure.
developed, especially for my guests. And this is just for you to. There's no right or wrong answer. You could just tell me what you think, right?
Okay.
And then we could take it from there. All right. So when it comes to starting your creative business, do you think it should be passion over problem or problem over passion?
See, the word business is the thing that's tripping me up right there because the word business implies something that sometimes. Anyway, for me, it was passion over problem.
It's passion. And how did that work out for you?
So far, so good.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I can't beat that. And so you'd recommend people do passion over problem? Because my thing is do
I
problem over
wouldn't
passion.
recommend. I
You would
wouldn't recommend.
recommend it.
I would say, be guided accordingly.
Okay. All right, no problem. All right. So when it comes to business, should you start before you're ready or be ready before you start?
Um, I think that I think possibly start before you're ready. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, and again, these answers are completely my based upon my experience.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can paralyze yourself into thinking that you are not ready, and so you don't actually like you're checking off all these things and you're waiting, and then you're not starting because you're in a state of paralysis and you don't even realize. So for me, I would jump in. I would
Yeah.
start before being ready, depending on what ready means for you.
I suppose so. I guess it comes down to what does ready mean. You know what I mean? Some
Mhm.
people will never be ready unless they're literally pushed off the cliff.
Exactly.
You know?
And some people are just really good at planning and executing. So,
I mean, and when you say some, you mean by this much, right? Because that's not a lot of
I
people. That's
mean,
a small amount of people.
I choose not to, implicate myself. However, I'm just saying, start before ready.
All right. Okay, fine. Start before you're ready. No problem. All right. So when it comes to branding, should you focus on business before personal, personal before business?
As in your personal brand before your business
Yes.
brand. What do you mean? Okay.
Yes. Personal brand. Yeah. When it comes to branding, yeah.
Again, based upon my experience, I would put the business first, and then figure out the personal after. Because that's my 2 cents. I
Oh
mean,
wow.
again, there's some people like Jamila who, like someone named Jamila Bannister who I'm aware of, who, their personal growth is thriving and now they could probably build whatever brand they desire. But for me, it's the other one.
Let's the other one. So, what do you guys in the audience think? Feel free to let us know what you would choose: personal before business, business before personal. Do you want to start before you're ready, or do you want to be ready before you start? Or what's the other one I said? I can't remember now. Or are you driven by a passion or over solving a problem first, or do you solve the problem first, then try to find the passion inside of it? Which one do you choose? And I mean, these are questions that either way. I suppose either way could work, and each way has its pros and cons.
Has its merits, definitely. Yeah.
Pros and cons, but I'm definitely having started with passion. I definitely say I go back and find the problem first.
Strong papers first.
Yeah,
Right.
find the problem first. I think certainly it allows you to get to the finish line.
It's probably more
Passion,
cost effective as well.
huh?
It's probably more cost effective as well.
I mean, yeah, it is. You spend a lot of time making mistakes with passion, you can try and figure it out. And I do believe in kind of starting before you're fully ready, because just today, actually, I saw on Instagram a clip from Mark Zuckerberg, and he was saying, a lot of products do not come to their fullest self until you actually start. And you test it, and then people may give you feedback, and then you're able to tweak and change, just like you were saying just now that you never imagined certain scents. Maybe you didn't start with all of these things: diffusers, car diffusers, home diffusers. You probably started with a few things, and then you expanded as you go out. And when you are launching with a beauty brand as well, it's always advised that you don't start with a whole bunch of things. You start with one thing, you test it out, and you know, you don't have to be fully ready with a whole set of makeup. I mean, you're not Rihanna, it's not Fenty,
No,
right?
no.
Start with one thing and then go further out. So Valine is saying, I'm a start before ready, business before personal, problem before passion. That's what she says she is. All right, Miss Valine. Now I understand. Now I understand why we have to work together to get your personal brand up. And Vamp Boss found us saying we started before we were ready. And in that things weren't perfect, but we started small and focused on results from our product. Yeah. And that's all you can do, right? So all right. So that was my little game. I thought I had a few more, but I couldn't think of any other twos on Tuesday. So it has to come to the end there. All right, so
Who's on
let's jump back into a couple more questions, right? Um, when we were talking offline, you told me that lots of people see the brand and then find out that it's you, and they have a hard time believing, that Kali, this brand, Kali. They have a hard time reconciling those two ideas. So why do you think that is, and what would you say to those people?
I think it's interesting because I mean Trinidad is still in relatively it's a small market. It's a small
Yeah.
space.
And
And
why do you share
like
that point? I'm going to share your Instagram page so people could see finally a bit about Ray if they haven't gone yet. Go ahead.
and the thing is that with the way that I mean, like I said, if I started with from ground up, I didn't start with any kind of knowledge of business or like I didn't have a retail space just waiting to slot my things into. Everything is literally something that I had to create and connect to and create some level of leverage for. So, and then, I mean, and I still feel very much like formative stages. I'm not I haven't achieved what I would like to achieve yet. But I think because the product and the brand made such a splash by way of the way it looked and the way it presented and the quality of it, that people probably assume that somebody who already had some sort of business connections or some sort of, um, just areas or routes to creating something that looked like this, or because the main feedback we get is international quality kind of thing. And so people probably assumed one that initially was imported, or two, somebody who already had business experience and manufacturing and production experience. So from that point of view, it's been interesting to kind of see people interact with me, the owner behind it, because it's like, oh well, you are literally just starting and you are creating something that is leaving such an impact. So that's really been the main thing that has happened.
Yes, and so this is your Instagram account, and I'm on here. Really, really pretty. So, guys, this is the vibe I was talking about, and these are all the images. So, we just talked about pictures. We just talked about brand design. We talked about Carlene, you haven't looked back to the drawing board 100 times to fix the pictures, but you know what? The grind is worth it because the pictures really come out really, really beautifully, right? And we see a moment here right in this image here, and we see lots of it here all over the Instagram feed. So it really does feel, and you know what? What would you say to those people who thought that it wasn't you?
I mean, what is there to say? I mean, I really just kind of have to. I mean, the thing is that, and going back to the whole passion thing, passion shines through, and I am passionate about this thing, and I research it, and I took my time to learn it, and so when it says you interact with me, you're interacting with somebody who is literally invested in this and has and can talk to you about the essence behind the brand and the way it looks and why it's called Ray, and why we chose to package things in such a way, and it and I think that the passion lands with people, and so it doesn't make it seem like I don't have a lot of convincing to do. It's just
Mhm.
initial, oh, I thought it would have been somebody who I was already familiar with behind the brand. And it's like, no, allow me to introduce myself, kind of thing.
Okay, so that's what you say. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I love it, baby. Okay. So now I know part of your positioning is that Ray is a luxury, because I mean it even says it on the candle, right? Ray luxury candles and scents. So I want to know how do you maintain your exclusivity? Because I mean that's all being part of luxury, right? How do you maintain your exclusivity, and how do you
So,
create those amazing customer experiences?
the thing is that in the positioning, it is Ray has been. We enter the market as one of the more higher end scented products, and
Hmm.
so because of that, that already kind of establishes in people's minds that it's not something that you're not going to get something like, because it's a high end thing, you're not going to get something that is of low quality, or something that you shouldn't have a lousy experience with. I mean, even in the context of customer experience, I am completely driven to ensure that once somebody interacts with Ray, if there's an issue, I want I want to know and I want to address that. And I also want that when somebody gets like a repackaged, it's an experience to just open it, to have it. It feels like somebody cares. It feels
Yeah,
like this takes you into another aspect of, you know, enjoy life, make the most of what this is. And so in terms of just the way we present the product and the way we've priced it, and the level of and the quality of ingredients that are used in the and the raw materials, and just making sure that when you handle it, it feels substantial, and you know it really is a very deliberately crafted image and brand and positioning that I don't take lightly at all.
yeah,
So, I mean, somebody was talking to me yesterday and they were like, "You're a perfectionist." And I'm like, I don't know if I'm a perfectionist, but I do know that this brand means something to me. And if it is, I'm going to say that this is a high end luxury product, I need people to feel like they have experienced that with the brand. And if that is not happening, and mind you, I by no means, I mean, I personally know where the growth needs to happen still. So, in as much as people are very kind and people respond well, in the back end, me, my team, we kind of know that we need to improve upon this, because we're really going after something. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And I appreciate that you are really clued into your experience, customer experiences too. Because, I had Catherine Nurse on this show
Mm-hmm.
um, a while ago, a few weeks ago. And I asked her the same question because, her brand is also positioned as luxury. And I also asked her about, how do you maintain exclusivity? How do you create those experiences? Because you know what, when we are housed inside of a larger culture that doesn't really advocate for amazing experiences, amazing customer experiences, we really have to fight the tide to ensure that all parts of the process, everywhere a customer interacts with us, that we're able to control that touch point. And the larger
Yeah,
you grow, the more difficult it becomes to control all those touch points.
it is. It is.
It becomes harder, and I mean, she talked about having her moments in her store, so I like that you are clued in and you want to know. And even the feel of the product, people must feel like, oh, this feels heavy, this feels weighty, this feels rich. You want
Mhm.
people to feel that when they get it. So I appreciate that a lot. All right. All right. So we are coming now close to the end. So I just want to ask one more. So recently, Valentine's Day just passed, and I saw that you did a combination with red candles and chocolate. I can only imagine the moments going to be created with that box. So, what are the great parents do you think people could use to create some moments with Ray? Like, what are the things that you think people could do, or are you planning on bringing out any other pairings?
So I am. However,
Ooh,
however, we're gonna
yes.
keep that a little close to the chest
Oh
at,
my
at this
gosh.
point. I mean, but the scoop is there are other collaborations coming, and there are um some really nice, like, focusing on capturing some really nice moments and uplifting um situations, and the word for me right now I've been carrying is aspirational, and this really as in what the brand aspires to be and what the brand can what can cause people to aspire to be and to follow. So yeah, but there are some collabs in the back end.
All right, no problem. I mean, that's really, from an official point of view, yes. But I think candles and chocolate make a good combo. I also think candles, chocolate, and wine make a great combo. I don't know if that's coming.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that is also a great combo. So I mean, guys, if you want to create your moments with rays, candles, and scents, and your moments don't always have to be sexy moments. They could just be relaxing
Mhm.
moments. They could be self-care moments. They could be reflective moments. They could be working moments. Create your moments with ray, candles, and scents. I don't know if I just gave you a whole new line of messaging there, but that's what
just copy and paste and just put that everywhere.
create your moments, right? Because that's what they are. So Carlene, before we bring things to a close, just tell us where people can shop for rays, candles, and scents.
Sure. So, if you're in the Port of Spain area, you can go to 36 Cornelio, the store 36 Cornelio, which is located on 36 Cornelio Street in Woodbrook. We
Yeah,
also have some of our limited product line at Von Venera Fashions in Pennywise Plaza in Chagonas. We also have some of our a limited line, but available in six Massy stores as under the Nudge promotion and the Nudge Corner Shop, and that
yeah.
is going to be running for the next until I think mid-April. So you could get that in Arima in Mandalay, in Massy Stores Mandalay. You could get it in Trinity. You can get it in Marabella, Gulfview, Westmorelands, and Maraval. So you can find us on the shelves there as well. And of course, you can find us online on the Jardine store. If you're on our Instagram profile, you can access that link there, and there's free delivery via the Jardine store as well. So yeah, and you
All
can always
right.
DM us, and we offer delivery as well.
All right. So, as Carlene said, if you would like to know more, order, and I'm sure you can access her link tree, add her Instagram account, which is IG at array underscore candles underscore scents. And on Facebook, you can find her at Ray Candle Scents. And if you need to get in touch for any official purposes, maybe you want to collab, maybe you want a partner, maybe you want her on your show. It's not going to be as good as this one, but maybe you can email her at raycandlescents@gmail.com. Okay, so you can get in touch with her via those means. So before we close, any last thoughts, any last bits of advice?
In terms of advice, I would just say, listen. I mean, we've things seem to be opening up, even though COVID is still pretty, present. But I feel like if make the most of moments is really where we're at. And make the most of connections, make the most of time spent together. And I encourage you to enhance those moments with Ray. And please visit us. And, we love to hear feedback, and we love to allow people to really experience their best moments with Ray. So, yeah. Thank you, Jamila.
Awesome. All right, so guys, you heard it. This is Ray's Candle. This is the founder and chief creative um, person behind Ray's. And she has other people on the creative team, but it comes mainly from her head. And of course, as I always say, there are people launching beauty brands every day with no idea how to sell them. If you feel like you are overwhelmed, you're not sure what your messaging is, you're not sure how to market it, you're not sure how to get it out there, you're not sure how to position it, feel free to connect with me on my website, jbannisterbranding.com, book a discovery call. Let's talk about how we can help you get the right positioning, correct messaging, so that you can sell your beauty products and make the money you deserve, okay? Because beauty is great. Looking and feeling good is amazing, and we all deserve to look, feel good, and get paid for the things that we love. All right. So, guys, I once again thank you for joining us this week. Next week, I'm going to have a really, really amazing guest coming all the way from Australia. He's my first male guest, which I'm very excited about. So,
Yay.
definitely check in next week. You will see me post it up later this week, and I appreciate it. And Valine is just dropping her last bit of lipsticks. Thanks to all the love, Valine. You are like one of our number one fans around here. I don't know if StreamYard has like top fan badges like Facebook, but you definitely will get one. All right. And thanks again. Feel free to check out Ray's Candle. Feel free to book your discovery call on jbannisterbranding.com. And I appreciate you. And don't forget to join us right here next week on the Lipstick Effect, where we will have another amazing guest to talk about business, branding, and beauty. So until the next one, have a great evening and bye bye.
Bye.